Is that your girlfriend pillow?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's Dr. Kamara.
Like,
Okay.
see. Like,
You just make up words,
like,
and I'll just
look,
believe.
as a diehard Trekkie,
Fair
I
enough.
get excited when there's even somebody who's just a little weeby because I'm like, I can look down on you.
Yeah.
You know, I own rubber heads. You know, yeah, Klingons. You know?
What?
Yeah, little Klingon.
I gotta go.
But
I didn't know we had so much in common.
yeah, I don't like.
What are you even talking about?
Yeah, that is definitely the weird one.
Oh, it's too bad you weren't here Sunday for the one shot.
Yeah.
I did up in the Red Room. We had a good turnout for it, full group, and fantastic role playing, like all around. They went into this town and there was like, nobody's around. It was the Valentine's Day one where we had they go into this town and everybody's busy getting busy. Nobody's around except for the drunks at the tavern. They're not drinking the water. So, they figure out. But, they decide, as most murder hobos do, we're going to go into the general store, see if there's anything. Right. She's like, I want a lasso. Like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, you can find one in there. Sure. Later on, as they're going through stuff, they find the cherub that was responsible for, basically he was sent down to get these two people in love, right?
Right.
The arrows didn't work. Both of them are just really awkward, and they've known each other all their lives. Neither one ever made a move. He tried the arrows, that didn't work. He tried just putting them into situations where they'd be around each other. None of that worked. So he got frustrated and went, you know what, screw it, I quit. Dropped his quiver of arrows into the well in the middle of town, and then just booked it. So and he had been spotted in the tavern because they were like, oh yeah, well, the only out-of-towner we've seen is that this guy that looked like a baby that came in, and we were like, I don't think you're old enough to drink, and they kicked him out. So, but he said, something about screw you guys, I'm going to go over to this other town. So they find this cherub just completely smashed, and he's got this. He's got kind of makeshift stilts and a trench coat and a fake mustache and a hat, so he doesn't look like a baby anymore, and he's just wasted. He's at the end of the bar, and now he wants to fight. These guys are like, no, you got to fix it. Yeah, man, this is not cool. So Femi comes up with, well, I got a lasso. He has a lasso's his ass, and they dragged him back to town. But that's the kind of cool stuff she comes up with. Right. Is the way the game starts, or the way the adventure starts out is they're all tavern. Yeah, that's typical D&D. And this very, very agitated sheep finds its way, and it wanders its way over to them, and it's making noises and stuff. And it's got a scroll in its mouth. It's a scroll of speak with animals, and it goes to the first person that it knows can cast use that scroll. Sure. She was playing with Bard, so manages to use it. And he's starting to tell the story, and he's like, "I gotta get out of here. I'm being followed, and I'm actually a powerful wizard, but things went sideways. My apprentice, as they do. My apprentice got a hold of a very powerful weapon, wand of true polymorph. So for the last 2 years, I've been a sheep. I need to fix this. You got help me. You're my only hope, sort of thing. And so first thing she says, well, I've never had a sheep lie to me before. So
really struggled with lately is finding a decent sci-fi game.
There's not much out there. Yeah.
And right, mechanics wise, magic is pretty straightforward. You can go, it's magic. It just does whatever.
You've got
so it's either very specific spell list, or it's
Starfinder, which is Map Finder in space, right?
I actually haven't looked through Starfinder. I read through some of the setting stuff for it, which looked kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
but I'm not a huge D20 fan overall. They tend to be too crunchy for me. I like a little more open-ended, and I don't like games that are overly balanced, if that makes sense. Because balance doesn't exist in the world, and shouldn't exist in the world, and doesn't need to exist.
Well, that's one thing I like about D&D campaigns where it's a sandbox is it's not balanced.
Yeah,
you're allowed to go wherever you want. And you're gonna get into areas where you're,
right. But and I mean, there's no reason that like a
Yeah.
Starfinder game couldn't necessarily go.
But at the
in
same
that
time,
route.
I think it takes away from the story a bit too, when like. Especially with like random encounters and that sort of thing, which usually I get rid of random encounters in D&D.
Oh, sure,
entirely.
Absolutely.
That's because I use milestones for leveling.
Okay, yeah.
You get to a certain part in the story, or it's we've got enough sessions. You guys deserve a level. Level up. Rather than counting up XP for things you killed or encounters you dealt with, I'd rather have characters grow in power on the merits of what they've done and advancing the story.
Sure.
Whether that's my story or theirs, sometimes it's totally not my story.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what I wrote. They just went off the rails and did something else, and now that's the story now. So, and then one or two players are like, "This feels like it's on rails." And I'm like, "No, I just made all that up while you guys went off on a tangent." I like the games that go more that way than some game masters I've played with where it is my world against the players.
Oh yeah, that's God.
And you get no sort of clue that maybe the place you're going to is just going to eat you alive.
No,
you don't find that out until you're in combat.
That's some
fighting
bullshit. Tomb of Horrors bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that. No, honestly, if I'm running a game, I will do everything possible to not kill a player character.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I won't prevent them from committing suicide. If I've given you all of the clues, indications, hints, outright told you, don't go poke the dragon in the eye with a stick, and you go get a stick and poke the dragon in the eye.
It's like maybe you should.
You have committed suicide.
Yeah,
at that point.
So far this Lich has been kind of friendly. Maybe don't try to fight him to take his stuff. Maybe that's not going to go well when you're in his house.
Primitive euthanasia. Like if that's where you're going, that's on you. But like finding, I don't know. There's
good sci-fi games are just not out there.
It's and I think it's largely the struggle with
we're talking about gaming, which I think is like you haven't done a whole lot of that. So as somebody that hasn't done a lot of role-playing games before, you might have some input, for example,
I have eaten mushrooms and listened to people several times.
There's that, yeah. Hey, that's a start, man.
That's the extent of my tabletop gaming.
That's a start, yeah. Oh, you missed out Sunday. We had an awesome one shot.
Yeah. Here, sign it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Get in the picture.
No, we were just talking about like sci-fi gaming.
There's like no good sci-fi tabletop games right now.
Yeah,
you got the Star Wars one.
Star Wars. Look, I applaud them for having the balls
for doing the thing,
go a different route to having proprietary custom dice, because innovation in dice mechanics and dice is relatively unheard of. There's only so much you can do We get it, you know.
Yeah.
Fine.
However, on the end of it, though,
but at the same time, as a gamer, I have so ritualized these fetish relics that are my dice.
Right.
You
have your dice bag for the dice that are in dice jail. You have your dice bag for these are the blue ones for this character.
Yeah.
These are the red ones for this character.
I've got this D20 over here. This is my only when I really want to hit the motherfucker dice. You know, I don't want to waste that on a skill check. Sort of shit. I mean, I watch guys that have advanced degrees in statistics stand there and it's a good one. You know, I mean. Yeah. So like to have dice that I can't use in any other game but to play that
does kind of suck.
I'm like, the fuck.
What is specific about those dice that you can't?
They've got special symbols on them. There's like. Was it a D4? Well, it's the same sort of layout as a D&D.
I mean, yes, obviously.
But they don't have numbers on them. They just have symbols.
You can obviously just go, well, sixes equal this symbol and that. Yeah. Blah, blah. I'm like, no, you can't. It's not the same.
Yeah, you could have a table. I want to see the explodey things on the dice when I roll them. I don't want to see the failure icon, but I want to see the explodey icons when I roll those.
Yeah, but
however, though. I watched the live game they did at PAX like a couple of years ago, and watching really now.
Right. Well, that's the thing that's happening. Is it? No, it's fine. All right.
Do you think that, so if I were to come in, I want to learn how to play specifically D&D. I think just because it's like
that's always a good one to start with,
right? And anything that's come after that has sort of built off of that.
Sure.
Yeah. But if I were to start off in say like Shadowrun or the Star Trek one that you're talking about,
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Star Trek. Star Trek role-playing games have been way worse.
Well, okay. I mean, if you go back to FASA, the FASA Star Trek
it wasn't good.
Don't ruin my childhood, Dave. It was not good. The mechanics of the D100, the thing,
and then
not
there's
good.
the spaceship combat one.
But that's
Commander.
There's fleet captain or not fleet captain, fleet commander.
Yeah.
There's all of the armadillo design bureaus.
There's so many bad.
I know what all those words mean individually.
Yes, it's like
so many bad Star Trek games.
But no, there were some good ones because Last Unicorn Games, the icon system for Star Trek was excellent. Deciphers.
Can you name 3 people that play it?
Yes.
That didn't also write it.
The Deciphers, moving on, the Decipher system.
I rolled a 16 to dodge.
Just shut the fuck up. The Cipher system, I actually didn't like. A lot of people did.
No, that was a bad system.
It was like good. Kind of, it came out shortly after the 3rd edition era, and so it was like this awkward hybrid of the Last Unicorn system plus let's just use a D20 now because that's a thing.
Because, it's trendy.
And then the most recent system is Modiphius's Star Trek Adventures, which uses their 2D20 system with...
So you need to be a fan in order to enjoy that game, yes? If I came into, I want to learn tabletop games, watch... there is no Star Trek game on the face of the planet that is made for anyone other than Trekkies.
Okay. Video games also.
Yeah.
Video games they're in the same boat.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Star Trek video games out there. If
But you
the only reason you'd play it is because you're a Star Trek fan.
Because otherwise there are games that are similar that are not Star Trek.
Yeah.
But do you think I am a very casual everythinger, like video games, nerdery of any sort.
Sure.
I did spend a lot of my preteen years and early teens watching like Next Generation. I'm not necessarily a Trekkie. I did enjoy it, but is that something as like just starting off tabletop games? Do you think that is something that would be more enjoyable, or would that give me a base? Would that give me a base?
No. Yeah, Kayla's shaking her head. If
I just want to learn tabletop games in general, what is the best one to start out with? Is it D&D?
D&D would be a good start.
It depends. Do you actually enjoy the fantasy genre?
Yes.
Okay.
So there you go.
Then D&D, Pathfinder, any of those really.
I don't know about Pathfinder.
No.
Pathfinder?
For a beginner?
No, it's fine. It's absolutely.
Pathfinder. Okay. I was like, Pathfinder sounds
beginner
awful.
friendly.
Sure.
I don't want anything to do with Pathfinding.
Okay.
If you're only using 14 of the core books.
Right. That's it's the same thing like when people go, oh, GURPS is super complicated. I'm like, it's 3 freaking dice, dude. Calm down. It is, can you do basic math with the assistance of a calculator? You can play GURPS.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem you run into with Pathfinder, though, is nobody for the most part, plays games with beginners. They have a pile of books.
Fuck off, dude.
Oh, it's character generation. We're going to take the next couple weeks.
I'm very much into customization as far as on video games. The last
so you'd
video
like
game
Pathfinder for that because there's so many options.
Yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming. The same thing with GURPS is it's beholden upon
for something.
Generic universal role playing system.
Oh, okay.
So it's designed to be played so that you can, if you're kind of doing your own thing with it, you only need one book.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got the core rules in it, and you can do whatever you want from there. And then if you want to add in things like superpowers, we're going to do a superheroes game. So you grab the powers book. If you want magic, there's a book for magic. Tanks and crap. There's books for everything you could want to add into that game.
Right, and
to make it into what you want.
It's
but
vehicles,
the system
GURPS vehicles.
Yeah, but the system itself is fairly simple.
Yeah,
it doesn't take long to learn the system. It's all you have skills; those are a thing, and you have
noticing
attributes. Those are a thing, and then you roll dice, and it's 3d6.
No, I could totally do that.
The system is really easy. The only time it gets complicated is when you start adding in more and more books.
Right, and that's honestly that's just a shitty GM.
Yeah,
if you're sitting there going, we're going to use 26 fucking books.
Can we do a noob?
And at that point,
I don't know if there's enough people who have never played.
Dave does his one shot for D&D.
Okay, but I'm mostly here.
Well,
I might branch out into other stuff. If I start doing more one-shot nights, I might do maybe some Shadowrun. Free art.
Oh yeah, free RPG.
I was here for that.
When is that?
June. It's usually the second Saturday in June, typically. I don't know if because it's done by Impressions Marketing and what's his name? Aldo.
And we ended up we did the sheep one that day, I think.
But we usually try and get
I'm really bummed out that I didn't get
we get a bunch of people. We run a bunch of games on those. Try and get the majority of because basically it's a bunch of introductory books free for people. So we try and run as many of those adventures as we can get people.
Yeah, they need to be indoctrinated.
You do.
Yeah, and they one of the ones that
has that.
There's probably. There's probably already one. Paranoia. That's a whole different.
Paranoia is a whole nother.
That's a different can of bees there.
That is.
That's no, it's
very.
I remember first time playing Paranoia. The GM somebody had gotten white paint on them, so all of the things are shooting at him. He doesn't actually have that clearance.
Yeah.
So he goes into a sonic shower, and the GM's like, All right, you go into the sonic shower, roll a d6. And he rolls it and he goes, all right, that's how much damage you take from the sonic shower. Because, that's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a gas shower?
Apparently. It vaporized all the paint off of him.
Yeah,
so he ended up taking damage. Otherwise, every time he went down a corridor, the computer would recognize that he doesn't actually have that clearance to go down the corridor he's going down, so it would just shoot at him.
I'm sorry, I'm useless.
Yeah,
Paranoia is
it's a weird
crazy.
Is it like World War Z, but not?
No, it is a crazy game where everyone lives inside these giant kind of
it's an arcology.
Habitats that are ran by a AI. Everything's run by a computer.
Oh, that's terrifying.
The problem is the computer is batshit crazy.
Right.
Yeah, the computer is brilliant but insane.
Yeah. And so you have a security clearance that is, Roy G. Biv, color-coded.
Right.
Like a house.
Like the rainbow.
Yeah.
So, corridors, like as you go down corridors, they'll have like a stripe painted down the corridor. That one's red. Okay, so if you're red clearance or above, you can go down that corridor.
But if you're red clearance and you get to a blue corridor,
you can't go down there.
You can't go down there.
Well, what's the top clearance then that you can go through all
White
of them?
ultraviolet.
Oh,
yeah.
The programmers.
Which the robots can go down too. The character I played in the game that I did, way back in high school, I played a bot, so I could go everywhere. And sometimes those ding-dongs would follow me down a white corridor and just get shot up. Like I'm just I'm going down to get this thing, and
Did your GM make you wear the mask if you were playing a robot mask if you were playing a bot?
Like a real
Oh yeah,
like IRL.
No, mine.
Like there are in the back of the book way back in the day.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
There was
I'm
a
sure
page that you photocopied, or in the box set it was cardstock, but it had like a mask that was a goofy robot head, just a paper mask that you had to wear if you were playing the robot or a robot in the party. It was ludicrous.
I would be the robot just to get to wear the mask.
Yeah, Paranoia as a game is just completely ridiculous.
Silly.
It plays on all of the terrible tropes of
Does anyone here play that regularly? I'd like to get in on that shit.
But the cool thing is when you die, a rocket gets sent out with one of your clones on it to land in the spot where you were. Sometimes that kills your friends because it's paranoid.
Yeah,
that happens. So sometimes your clone comes and kills all your friends, and then their rockets come in and
who needs friends?
There's like now a miniatures war game for Fallout. Which, I'm like, okay,
that's just a money grab, right? Like, just buy more things for the game.
No, it's a separate game. It's a different game.
The series does have a lot of rich lore and stuff like that, a lot of story.
Again, I don't know enough about Fallout. Well, I know I don't know enough.
They're the same ones that do Oblivion,
but as a single player game, no. Yes. Yeah, that's Bethesda. Yeah. To me, it just sounds weird, but then again, I've played the Doctor Who miniatures game, which is...
What is your go-to game? Like, I know that you do, like, SCA stuff, but I don't know what kind of gaming stuff you're into.
I love miniatures, war games, and then role-playing games. That's my thing. I have an absolutely obscene collection of role-playing books. Are
any of the ones that we have here yours?
No.
Anybody's here? Or?
Mine don't leave the house.
Where do they all come from? And is this what we're supposed to be talking about? Sorry, I don't know anything. Yeah. Okay.
So before the divorce, I had probably right around the neighborhood of 1,500 role-playing books. Yeah.
Oh, you got divorced? Just joking.
No.
JK.
Yeah. Yes. That was it. But I have played every ridiculous game you can imagine. Like, and that's the other thing is if you can imagine it, there is probably a role-playing game for it.
It's just a matter of finding the people who also play and are willing to teach somebody who literally has outside of those mushroom experiences, no experience playing a tabletop game whatsoever.
Generally speaking, like the weirder and farther out onto the fringe outside of that kind of core role-playing games, be it, Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, Rifts, once you start getting into weird, crazy shit, you're going and you're like, I'll play. People will totally play. Yeah, like if you bust out, the 1987 West End Games Ghostbusters box set.
If you have that,
hell yeah. Yeah, of course. People, and you're like, I'll totally play. We're playing some goddamn Ghostbusters. So there's always that. Like if you get into
you're not specifically into like say futuristic or fantasy stuff. It's just whatever's weird as shit.
Not necessarily what is weird as shit. I'm just saying that as somebody who's wanting to get into role-playing games, if you're willing to play weird, crazy games, people who own and want to play will happily fucking play those because we're always going, you wouldn't want to play Ghostbusters?
No, we played it last week. I know. I love this game.
But then there's some super far end games where like if you're like, do you want to play Amber? No, I do not.
So I had a friend in San Diego who
no one wants to play Amber. That's why you're online begging people to
Amber Alert.
Yes.
Why does nobody want to play?
No, I am not. Because it's a diceless game that you go, I do this, and
that makes it sound sad.
Cool. Like,
you diceless bitch.
You diceless bitch. It is.
Salt.
It is. It's for gamers who are too low rent to afford a D6. So I've played a lot
new favorite thing.
There are some definitely weird games.
Yeah. So my friend in San Diego brought one day to work. He was like, "Look, you guys, this is what I'm into. I've been into it since like 5th grade. They're like robot tabletop games. I don't know. You're like
fucking Mech Warrior.
Yes,
hell yeah.
Yeah, those.
Oh yeah.
At the time, like my husband had just gotten me into like Magic the Gathering, and I fucking whooped his ass every time. I never made a deck. I cannot make a deck to save my life. So I played his decks against his decks, and he's like, "That's not fair." Like, because I beat him literally every time we played, and he's like, "That's not fair because you're playing my deck against my deck." I'm like, "Doesn't that make it more even? It means I'm just better than you, right?" So I was into that, but I also very specifically like fantasy type stuff. I want to be like a fucking level 80, fucking bludgeoning the shit out of you orc type of bitch or whatever. So my friend then brought this stack of books like this for Mech Warrior. Yeah, that's the thing. And he's like, "Yo, you're like into nerdy shit," and I was like, "Not
out as a
miniatures game evolved into.
I have no like. Look, when I go to the casino, I specifically pick the games that I play based on the artwork. So it is why I play the games that I play. Like video game, whatever. I'm really not into like futuristic stuff and anything like that. So I judged him at that point because I didn't know any better. Yeah, I'm like, that's so weird. Right, but now, like, I mean, I get it. I'm still not into it, but I get it.
Yeah,
I can't think of the word right. Like I can specify it to me. What is the word I'm looking for? You guys know it. I'm sure. Yes, thank you. Like highly customizable characters is like my jam.
When it comes to
I played Oblivion is because
when it
I
comes
made
to
a character.
absolute customization
Pathfinder might be your thing there. Yeah.
of your character. No.
GURPS.
GURPS. It is GURPS 100%.
Yeah.
So who here plays that?
A lot of people play GURPS. I don't know if we have any
like,
regular GURPS games on, but yeah, there's plenty of people that play GURPS.
Am I gonna have to talk to people?
Like,
you would have to actually talk to people.
Let's put it this way: the last GURPS game I played in, we were doing supervillains in the Marvel universe. My character was a highly telepathic house cat.
Ooh, I like that.
And the smartest one in the group.
GURPS allows you to play.
Usually are.
Yeah.
Fucking anything.
But you can also teleport and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah.
But you have to, within the group that you're playing with, have to decide what.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't be like, okay, I'm going to be a telepathic cat. I'm going to be like a ghost.
Yeah.
What?
The only time that works
although that was kind of
is Bessem, big eye, small mouth, and then it is
the name of a game?
Yes, Bessem is. It shouldn't work, and it's terrible.
Do you have to be adorable to play that?
You fundamentally need to be 23 years old and obsessed with anime.
I can only be half of whatever.
No. It's an interesting game system. And it is.
But I think you have to, when you buy the game, you have to show them that you have a katana and a trilby.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, gross. Never mind.
If you don't, you gotta.
It's well, maybe not.
Yeah, there is a definite weeaboo requirement to
you don't have to have
speak of the weeb and he shall appear.
Is that a thing?
No. I'm a closet weeb.
Yeah.
He keeps his waifu in the closet.
Yeah.
No.
Is that your girlfriend pillow?
Yeah, the waifu. Yeah.
No, that's Dr. Kimura.
Okay.
See.
You just make up words. And I'll just
look, as a diehard Trekkie, I get excited when there's even somebody who's just a little weeby because I'm like, I can look down on you. I own rubber heads. Klingons.
What?
Yeah, little Klingon.
I gotta go.
But
I didn't know we had so much in common.
Wow. No, but yeah, that game, that system is designed for basically creating role-playing games based off of any anime you have ever seen, and it weirdly seems to handle
Sergeant Frog.
It weirdly seems to it seems to handle the ability to mash all of those disparate genres of anime into a single game system and setting. As much as I'm not a fan of it, I have some respect for it as a system. It does.
I wonder how well it would deal with Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I've been toying with the idea of doing a campaign in that world. That was my first thought.
Exalted is no. Maybe first edition. Honestly, I would use Ars Magica.
The other one I thought about was just going straight up mage.
Right, but Ars Magica already uses the elements.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And the mage system, the sphere system, is developed out of the magical system for Ars Magica. So I think it would. Fuck it. You could just do mage. Yeah. Use Mage the Ascension.
And then. But Mage the Ascension, and you only have access to this.
Right, but we're talking. I don't know if the microphone picked up Kayla talking about Fate, and Fate is a fantastic thing.
That's what I haven't played with.
What's the big
we're talking about games with mechanics in the system, rather than
Roll dice and do stuff.
I do an aspect. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Moving on. I don't know. I rolled some dice. There was a plus symbol. Yay! No. Fate is cool. It has its place. I much prefer Fate Accelerated over Fate Core. Tires for the left side of your car.
But at least it's not rifts. Which was supposed to be big and open-ended, and it's not. It's terrible.
There is literally no game on the face of the planet that is more bloated and rife with power creep. Look.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
I just don't have the energy anymore to play a game in spite of its system.
Yeah, and that's the only way you can play Rifts.
And it's been 30 fucking years, 25 years, and they haven't updated not a single fucking edition. Just update your mechanic. You're still fundamentally running a fantasy heartbreaker with hacked second ed D&D rules. And
funny,
there's a reason we don't play
what
second
is a heartbreaker?
It's funny you mentioned that, though, with hacked together second edition rules, because one of the best Rifts games I played was where they took the lore and crap from Rifts, converted it over to a D20 system. And
it kind of is a D20 system. It already is.
Yeah.
So a fantasy heartbreaker is I took D&D and the core basic set of D&D, and then added 2 or 3 tweaks and maybe an actual innovation and neat, cool thing, and then otherwise made a bland, generic fantasy role-playing game.
As in,
that
you had
has
hope
its own
for it.
Custom rules for no fucking reason.
You had hope for it, and then you're like, this fucking
you're like,
again.
this is awesome. Look through it. Oh, no. It's second ed AD&D.
Are we allowed to?
But without the flavor.
But yeah.
Rude.
What?
Rude. I said, are we allowed to pause for a smoke break?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want for
Remember the part when I got up?
I know. I thought you just were peeing for a long time.
I also had to pee.
Okay, move.
Yeah. But yeah, also had to pee. Yeah.
I haven't found a decent sci-fi game.
I'm good.
And then honestly, GURPS
handles the sci-fi just fine.
Depends.
What system does it better?
No, I didn't say it. There was something that necessarily did it better. I just I'm saying that with Rogue Trader, a large portion of the game is ship combat, but their mechanics don't actually handle that worth a damn.
Yeah.
They're just, it's not good.
Yeah.
So finding a good sci-fi RPG has definitely been a challenge. Probably the open-endedness of Fate would work well for it. Because you could just aspect technological thingy things and and just but I've not found a lot of sci-fi RPGs that handle hyper technology well. It's honestly, outside of Mage the Ascension and Ars Magica, I have not found a fantasy system or that handles magic always ends up being just here's a litany of spells
spells you can do.
It's very specific, and if you're like, but I want to do a different thing,
right?
No. Or you have to ad hoc it, and that's you know, there's plenty of room for that. I'm not saying.
And I think a good DM, like should be able to look at something like that, and if they understand the game system well enough, they can modify that without unbalancing the game.
Yeah. But at the same time, you sit there and go, okay, I don't necessarily need power progression, but at the same time, I do, because I'm a gamer and I want bigger numbers on my piece of paper. I don't care.
You want to level up somehow, however that works.
Yeah, and that's it's one of the challenges, that I run into is I'm like, well, that game doesn't do superpowers the way I want, and
Thanks for letting me play, you guys.
See you later. But can you imagine like a fantasy role-playing game, like in a low magic setting where you're a peasant and eventually you learn how to do swords better?
I have totally played a grog in Ars Magica, where
and that's
I'm
it.
a peasant. The entire game is all about wizards, but I'm a peasant in service to a wizard. I don't. That's totally a god awful play style.
Like, oh, you didn't die. You get slightly better at swords.
Yeah,
that's you don't get stronger. You're as strong as you're gonna get. You've been chopping wood your whole life. That is as strong as you're gonna get ever.
You're past 35.
Oh, except now you're getting older. Now you're getting older, so you're getting weaker and slower. But you got a little bit better at swords. You got a little bit better at shields.
Yeah.
Now you're getting older, so you're getting a little less good at shields.
Yeah. There's definitely a degree of gamification that
and then maybe you got a little bit better at talking on the way. Your hotspot score is increased by 1.
But at the same time, like, what was it? Like, some of the games handle things like you could play any of the fucking CWDC verse characters or set. You could play, like using mutants and masterminds. It easily handles something like the Flash or Arrow or some shit like that. But
or Grip's powers even.
Grip's powers will fucking handle damn near anything. Everything.
Yeah.
But I sit there and I go, okay. But if you went to, say, what's that fucking one on Netflix right now?
Umbrella Academy?
Umbrella Academy.
GURPS would handle that.
GURPS would handle that, but most other superhero role-playing games, I don't know that they would.
Shit, number 5 was mostly my cat. That character, add in a little bit of time travel and boom, that's it.
And
although he also had mind control.
But his time travel worked out well because that's fundamentally plot device. So he didn't have inherently any real control over it. So that was fine.
Yeah,
it was just mostly
like a
teleporter. Have you watched Umbrella Academy?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Way better than the comics.
I haven't read the comics. I've not heard redeeming things about them. But yeah, like my problem with it as a show was what's his name? Klaus, the one who sees dead people. Yeah, if Klaus or 5 isn't on screen, I don't care. Like literally, those two are the only ones. What are these? Hazel and Cha Cha.
I liked them.
I liked them. I liked them. And I liked Klaus, and I liked 5. Freaking Rubber Suit Man, Luther, number 1. Yeah.
Not all that interesting.
Didn't care. I'm like, oh, my girlfriend, it's not my girlfriend. I'm like, seriously, dude.
Yeah.
You're like 30-ish.
Yeah, or whatever,
and you're still like dealing with a fucked up. Look, everyone's dealing with a fucked up childhood. We get it.
Yeah.
But you're pining over your junior high girlfriend.
Sister.
Slash sister.
Weirdness. Adopted sister.
Whatever. Yeah. But in your 30s. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, there's emotionally stunted, and there's emotionally repressed. And then there's just like, oh, fucking get over it, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
and she had. Mostly.
You know, Diego, the knife guy.
Yeah.
Fucking Worf. That's what he was.
Yeah,
he was Worf. He's like supposedly the super badass who had continued to like try, but he's
got the Worf problem. Yeah.
The only thing he does is get his ass kicked so that you can, exist as a demonstration for how badass the other guy is.
Yes.
And I'm like,
which is how they
he doesn't win a fight.
Worf always gets beat up just to demonstrate, it was like because everybody knows Worf is tough.
No, a fight like every third episode for like 12 years. It's not till like the 4th season of DS9 when Worf finally wins a fight. It's like, are you?
So Klaus in the comic books was a little different. Like, he was blonde and he had one eye, and he also played in a punk band with Vanya for a while. That was a thing. So his character is a little different in the comics.
Sure.
But yeah, that was his powers. He could throw knives and make them go around corners. So,
that was Diego. Klaus.
Or Diego.
Yeah.
Klaus, Diego was he had one eye and was blonde.
They gave him a scar on the side of his head, maybe. I don't know.
But, Klaus, though, Klaus got even more interesting when he started getting his, more of his powers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, the whole point is to figure out what happened, right? And how to get there and what's going on.
Yeah.
Just because I know some of the powers now, because I know the story doesn't mean I know the actual story or why everything's a thing. You haven't told me the main plot line. You haven't told me what the ending is.
Yeah.
Now I'm just more curious because
it's... I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it was good.
Sergeant Frog has a plot line, right?
I thought it was great. It was entertaining and
Well, I mean, the X-Men are. Yeah.
So basically, the X-Men.
Yeah. It's just X-Men.
Yeah.
If you liked our video and you liked all the crap we were talking about, you hit the subscribe button so you can see us do it next time without having to, look us up. If you didn't like it, still click the subscribe button out of spite, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. If you're going to yell at us in the comments, click the subscribe button.
Yeah. Be sure to write in the comments. We won't read it.
Yeah. We're definitely not going to read the comments.
No.
It's like the first rule of internet. Don't read the comments.
Don't read the comments.